talk about layers inside of ArchiCAD. Whenever we're using our tools over here, say we're using a wall or a roof beam tool, we're placing our objects on layers. And the layer that's currently chosen we can see right up here at the top, just a couple to the right of our settings here. And let's change that to be a wall exterior. So if I create a set of 4 walls here, they end up on a layer called a wall exterior. If I select a wall, we can see its layer is a wall exterior. We could change that layer after the fact. If we've already created this wall and it ends up on a wall exterior, we can stick it on any other layer. I could even put it on this furniture layer here. It still displays just fine. ArchiCAD doesn't really care what the layer is called and what the object is that's on the layer. We can use our layers to do several different things. If I go, and by the way, I'm getting into my layers dialog by hitting Apple L or Control L on a PC. And so I can scroll around in here and I can find those layers we're talking about in here. We could say, okay, here's a wall exterior. I can lock that layer if I'd like, and then nobody or I can move anything on that layer or delete anything on there. We may want to do that if we really want to set something in stone and we don't want anybody messing with it. We can be turning that layer off. Let's do that. Or we could be changing from a solid shading mode to a wireframe mode if we wanted to, just on one layer. And we'll talk about this in just a second. These are the intersection groups. Which layers interact with what other layers. You'll see how that works in just a second. So we've turned off a wall exterior, and I'll click OK. You can see all the walls disappear except for this one layer that we put on a firm. If I go up here and left click and change it to be on a wall exterior, it disappears also because it's been placed on a layer that is turned off. Let's go back inside our layers, Apple L or Control L, and I'll go down and we'll turn on a wall exterior. Now what I'll do is I'll go back into the wall tool. Let's change our mode here. And I'm going to change my layer to be a wall interior. And let's see here. Let's go about making a little bit thinner walls here. And I'll just stick a couple walls in here. Let's just make one here. And make it go over here, and maybe I'll divide this room up over here. So all these walls, if I select one, we can see it's on a wall interior. If I select this wall, we can see it's on a wall exterior. Now the tricky thing with these intersection groups is the following. Notice we've got a clean intersection there, and we're cutting into this wall with this wall here because they're of the same construction basically. If I go back into the layers and I turn off a wall interior, you'll see that we were left with some little gaps here. So if we're coming out with different room layouts with different interior walls, you can see we can't just simply turn off walls and expect them to totally be hidden. They're sort of making themselves known. They're still, just because a layer is turned off doesn't mean it's not still interacting with the objects that are on the screen here. So I'll go back into my layers here, and I can scroll down, and what I can do with the following, I can change this layer's intersection group to any other number other than 1, just so long as a wall interior and exterior are on different intersection groups, and I click OK. You can see those little gaps go away. Now the downside to that is the following. If we turn our layers back on, a wall interior back on, you can see that the walls no longer cleanly merge up. So we've got to be careful about how we use our intersection groups and our objects on the screen. So that's just sort of a brief introduction to layers.